Over the course of a year of virtual teaching during the pandemic, I would say time and again, if we can get through this period of time, we can teach anyone, anywhere, anything. Because quite frankly, I couldn't imagine anything being more challenging than the year we just went through. And then along came 2021. Stick with me and let's talk about what happened when kids returned to the classroom. Hi, and welcome to Classroom Confidential. My name is Christopher Youngren, and I'm a middle school English teacher in Tucson, Arizona. Here on this channel, I would normally say I share tips and strategies that keep me sane and my students engaged. But this year, quite frankly, all bets are off. I'm at a loss. I mean, maybe I'm stupid, but I figured once kids got back into the classroom, things would be a heck of a lot easier than staring into this sea of Zoombified faces, half of which were probably not even paying attention, playing Minecraft, watching YouTube videos, and getting them to pay attention. And the daily struggle that was, I couldn't imagine anything being more difficult than that. And yet now, 3 months into the school year, the issues of behavior are unlike any I have ever seen before. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Teachers all across the country, hell, probably all around the world, are saying that the 2021 school year so far has been 10 times harder than the one we just came through. Now look, before I go on, I have to preface the rest of this by saying I have plenty of good students. I have plenty of kids that came through a year plus of isolation relatively, seemingly unscathed, and they jumped back into the swing of things beautifully. And I'm not talking about those kids, but as we all know, one rotten apple as it were. And it is so absolutely unfair to the kids who are on task that I have to take time out of my class period to redirect the behavior of 1 or 2 kids who are so off track and so distracting that it completely upheaves a class of 20. That should not be the case, and yet here we are. And the thing is, with some of these disruptors, the consequences don't make a damn bit of difference. I just made a video about how I don't believe detentions and suspensions serve any purpose in correcting future misbehaviors. And for these kids, it's absolutely true. They come back into class after serving in school or out of school detention, either way, and their attitude is just like, okay, that was a nice little PlayStation vacation. Bring it on. What's next? But what's especially frustrating and oh so challenging, and maybe many of you can relate to this, comment down below if you're experiencing what I am, but this whole kind of devil-may-care attitude like, oh yeah, what are you going to do about it? These kids have had no consequences, and they've really taken, many of them, very little responsibility for their own education for a year plus. Pretty much everybody at my school was just passed on to the next grade, regardless of academic performance. And after 2 years of just being passed on, I think it's ingrained in their brains, in the membranes, to believe that regardless of what they do, there aren't going to be any long-term repercussions. And it's a very, very dangerous mindset for them to have, and it's one that is simply going to get worse the more they perpetuate their belief in it. The nature of the pandemic was such that many students ended up as latchkey kids last year as their parents went off to work. And as a result, they had very little rules during the day. And as I said, there were very few repercussions or consequences for them not following the rules because there weren't any to begin with. And now having them back in the classroom, getting them to adhere to a structure once again is like, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm losing my ding-dang hair for crying out loud. I know we've been through a lot, and I am totally down with the whole seek first to understand mentality, but we have got to establish policies and rules from day one, and we have got to get the kids to follow them, redirecting them as often as we need to. They've forgotten how to follow the rules of social behavior, of classroom behavior, etc. And so if we let it slide anywhere, we're just opening ourselves up for a whole world of hurt. Praise the ones who are on task. Thank them for setting a good example for the rest of the class. Don't focus so much on the negative behavior exhibited by a few, but really kind of cultivate the mentality of positivity by thanking the ones, by showing gratitude to the students who are setting such a fine example of how a student ought to be behaving. But the struggle is real, and it is evidenced by teachers leaving the profession in droves more than ever before because they just cannot handle the pressure. The stress is too much, and the behavior is absolutely reprehensible. Now look, don't get me wrong. Once again, I've subbed at pretty much every single school in Tucson Unified School District, and I've seen some rough schools, and I've seen some really challenging, shall we say, desk-throwing, name-calling, fist-fighting behavior. And overall, my school is not like that. But as I said before, it just takes a handful of kids to ruin the educational experience for all. And as I've told my own students, I don't care if you waste my time. I am here for you. My time is yours. But when you are wasting the time of the rest of the class, many of whom actually give a ding-dang about their education, that I got a real problem with. It is not your right to steal time from people who are here to learn. You may not be, that's fine. That's the choice you're making, but you have absolutely no right to steal that from your fellow students. As I said at the beginning of this video, quite frankly, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do with some of these issues of behavior that we're facing, and maybe you feel exactly the same way. Let me know. Comment down below and let me know how it's going for you. What have you tried? What's working? What's not working? And where do we go from here? Because not just to coin a dopey phrase that came out last year, but we are all in this together, and educators need to stick together. We need to share ideas, and we need to cultivate a community of people who care about these kids enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to stick to this because the kids need us. We had a conversation about heroes yesterday, and they were saying all sorts of things like firemen and doctors and frontline workers, etc. You know what? I believe in my heart of hearts that teachers are absolutely heroes as well. So you are a hero to me. And I would love to hear what you have to say about the situation that we're all going through right now, because I know how difficult it is. And we just need to stay strong, we need to stay together, and we need to remember that the kids need us, regardless of whatever defiance that they're showing us. In the end, we are shaping their lives, and they may not like it, they might not like having to follow the rules again, but in the end, they will absolutely be better for it. Hey, thanks for joining me today. If you got value out of this video, do me a favor and hit that like button for me, and be sure to check out some of the other great content right here on Classroom Confidential. There's a lot of really fun things, there's a lot of ideas that have worked for me, and there's a lot more to come. So in the meantime, be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and take care of someone else. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.